Hello, everyone, and welcome to Brookdale Newsmakers. I'm your host, Mike Murray, and today we are graced with the presence of Brian Goudsward. Hi, Brian. Welcome.
Thanks, Mike, for having me. Appreciate it.
I'm happy to have you here. Brian worked on the production of the men's basketball, and I worked on that as well with him. And Brian, what do you do now for work in terms of broadcasting?
Well, I have a couple different jobs. I mean, on air is the ultimate goal, of course, but I think when you start out, there's different things you try. I'm board opping for Sirius XM right now, different sports, from baseball, football, college sports too. And my remote job is with MLB Network as a game logger. So each logger is assigned to a different game, and we kind of track all the important events of the specific game.
Okay, statistics or just in general? Or?
All different things, from stats to cutaways to the dugout, players and coaches. If the fans are doing anything interesting in the stands, like dancing or anything like that, we track it all.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting because when I interviewed Ian Mulhern earlier, he was saying that the color commentator kind of sets the scene, but you do play-by-play?
Yes.
Would you say that you do that predominantly?
Yeah, play-by-play is definitely my thing. Professionally, I think the color commentator is typically an ex-player. I was not graced with great athletic ability, so play-by-play is definitely my route, and I love doing it.
Okay, and do you have any sort of guys that you were your idols or your mentors, at least in the sense of famous people who you...
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, I've been watching sports for so many years. I've been a Met fan, so they're a very popular booth with Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling are the best. Gary Cohen is one of my number one idols for sure. Ian Eagle, who does games with the Nets and also nationally with the NFL. I just love his style, just great to listen to. Nationally, guys like Al Michaels, just an iconic voice. I find myself trying to, as best I can, imitate his voice. Obviously, I can't come close to him, but he's just phenomenal what he does. And Doc Emmerich, who's retired now for hockey, but just the passion and energy he brought to each broadcast, just I don't think matched by anyone. Just a phenomenal listen. So those are some of my favorites for sure.
Sure. So Al Michaels, yeah, of course, maybe Al Michaels, one of the most famous calls of all time at the 1980 Russia,
Yep.
right?
You believe in miracles. Yep.
And now it seems to me that Doc has been replaced by Kenny Albert, is what I've been noticing, and I don't know. I mean, the son of Marv Albert, I guess, is like royalty, broadcasting royalty, kind of a Joe Buck and his father kind of thing going on there. But do you watch, what's your primary sport you watch, you would say?
Baseball, number one. I mean, I'm a big football fan, too. I really try to follow as much as I can all the sports. Basketball, too, obviously, that's what I have experience calling. But hockey, especially in the playoffs, I'll watch. So I really just try to keep tabs on everything.
Right. So it must be tough. I mean, personally, I love sports, but it becomes almost exhausting, and I wonder how you manage the stamina to keep up and be interested.
Well, I think it really just comes down to having a passion. This is what I want to do. It's what I've wanted to do for years, and I wasn't the kind of fan that just wanted to be a fan. I realized that when I watched sports, I wanted to be in the arena, not just watching the game, but calling the game, and realizing that could one day be a job that really enticed me. So it's what I love to do, and I think when you love doing it, they say you don't work a day in your life, so I sure hope to make a career out of it.
Sure, yeah, and it does feel that way when you do something you enjoy. I mean, as a cook myself, when I'm cooking, it feels like it's right, and it's not just misery, which is what I aim to do. Now you're here at Brookdale TV. You didn't attend Brookdale
Right.
Community College, correct? You
Correct.
went to
Montclair State.
Okay, and what did you major in?
Majored in television, digital media was the name of the major. There was a concentration in sports, so that was kind of nice because I got some practical classes in the sports area. I did some TV classes, but really the best experience I got while in school was working at the radio station. You know, that got me on the air, hosting my own show, started to call games with baseball and basketball mainly, and that's really what kind of ignited the passion for wanting to do this. And ever since I graduated, it's here at Brookdale where I've gotten the best opportunity for on air.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to ask you that because I'm kind of curious how you came to this opportunity.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of an interesting story because after I graduated, I sent out emails to all different schools, and you know how that goes. Normally you don't get any response. If you do, it's generally not very positive. So I wound up hearing from one of my professors, and he was like, why don't you try Brookdale? And I thought, community college? I'm not even sure that there'd be any kind of opportunity. But sure enough, I reached out to Sean Noel. He was the director of athletics at the time, set up a meeting pretty quickly, said, come in this week. I came in, I walked around the facility, saw like the broadcast booth right away. I was like, this would be a good fit. And I guess he agreed because that season I started, that was 2016, and I've been here ever since. Only year I didn't broadcast was the pandemic year, but it's just been a great experience for me.
Right, yeah, and it is an incredible opportunity, I would say, if for a prospective resident of Monmouth County to come here, and if they are interested in this type of career, for sure, because the staff and everybody involved, they really do know what they're doing. And as you can see, but we are in a pretty impressive TV studio right now. I mean, that's something I noticed when I started going here as an adult student. I was like, oh my God, this is just here this whole time, right?
Well, and the other thing too is covering teams that are of such high quality. You know, it's not like we're calling games for teams that are even mediocre or, you know, 500 teams. This is like nationally ranked teams that we're covering on the men's and women's side, and chances to make the tournament and championships and getting to call high-level basketball. That makes it all the more better.
Right, and you feel as though, I would imagine you're honing your craft here. Is that fair to say? Or?
I would say so. I think, you know, like I said, this has been my best opportunity for play-by-play so far, and the experience I've gotten has been invaluable. I know that wherever I go from here, I can take what I've learned at Brookdale. You know, the reel that I come up with is going to be highlights from games I called here. So when I go to wherever I go next, I can always remember Brookdale as being the place where I got my start.
Right. Thank you to Brian for coming in today, and thank you, Brookdale TV, for providing this opportunity, as Brian so eloquently described, for anyone who's a prospective student in film, photography, audiovisual. It doesn't matter. It's obviously a great place to be. And again, thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Mike Murray, and we'll see you next time.